Naralkar is in the house. On Transformation Tuesday, nutrition is one of the imperative things if we want to transform our energy and have the ability to transform our lives. Welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Tell us, first of all, what is integrative nutrition for people that don't know what that is?
So I think there's been a huge shift in nutrition science in the past 10 years. And I think not just nutritionists, but RDs and even physicians are seeing that, it's not just about what you're eating and how much you're moving, but what you're thinking has a massive role to play in your outcome, right?
Sure.
So I think the integration of all the three elements, what you're eating, how much you're moving, and what you're thinking, into what you're trying to achieve is what integrative nutrition is. So just looking at nutrition or food science in a holistic way.
I always say that, what's worse for you, stress or a candy bar? Because stress is it can be way
100%.
worse for you than eating a candy bar. No
100%,
question
yes.
about it, right?
Yeah, and I think nowadays stress is, it's everywhere. Most of us don't even notice it. It's stress. When it comes to stress, people think it's about going on a hike and seeing a bear and freaking out and running away. But I think just
all the time,
right. But living in a city like LA, we are stressed out all the time. Just stuck in traffic, you're stressed. In the morning, my kids are, I'm trying to get them out of the door and it's stressful. And I think this chronic stress, it just adds up and creates total havoc in our system.
A lot of people don't realize that the stress can affect them on a hormonal level as well.
100%, yeah, because it shuts off your entire... When you're under stress, basically everything else just shuts off. Your digestive system shuts off. Your body stops producing hormones optimally because it's just trying to control that stress, right? And it's trying to get you back into homeostasis, normalize everything. So if you have stress for a short time, like today, this morning, when I was coming here, I was a little stressed out. I was like, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to be on a show. So that's short-term stress, which will go away once we are done here, right? But if I'm constantly under stress all day long, all month long, then it's going to slowly but surely affect not just my hormones, but my digestive system. And then it's going to cause chronic illness like heart disease or just other functional problems. And in women, it's PCOD and things.
So what have you discovered about stressing less? How does one stress less?
So that's a good question. I don't think it's about stressing less per se. I think it's more about figuring out how you can navigate that stress. So the first thing is to acknowledge that you are stressed, right? Because 9 out of 10 people are not. They go about living the stressful life. So once you're aware that certain things trigger stress in you, then you can find ways to maneuver through it or navigate through it a little better. And what happens over time is that you're still going to stress, but you probably are going to stress for a shorter amount of time, and you're going to be able to release that stress and move through it faster. And how do you do it is a good question, because there's no one answer to it. And when I'm working with clients, I always say, see what works for you. I love to meditate, but it's not for everyone, quite frankly. Some people, it's just a brisk walk, right? Some people, it's listening to music or journaling. So just figuring out what helps you to calm yourself down and doing that more often when you feel that you are going to get stressed or agitated.
But is there a way to do that through nutrition?
So there's certain foods that can trigger stress, right? So it's a vicious cycle. So when you are stressed, you feel like eating crappy food, right? So I would go to chocolate or something fried or whatever your thing is. And then that triggers off this whole effect of extra sugar, and your hormones get more imbalanced and you tend to feel more stressed. So it is one thing feeds the other, but I think you got to start with your mind. You got to start with your mind, because once you learn to control that stress, you start looking at food differently, right? We all do. So I think it's mind, and then your food choices will change.
Yeah, such a good point. I worked at a consulting firm, and they would always have an expression. They'd say, become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I got it on one level, but on the other level, it was sort of encouraging us to become less sensitive to how we felt. And then we weren't able to pivot quickly enough when we felt stressed, right? So it would
Correct.
snowball on and on and on.
Correct, exactly. Or just being okay with it, right? Like just, oh yeah, I know I'm stressed. I'm just gonna have a little more coffee. I'm feeling stressed. I'm gonna just, have a cookie, or I'm just okay with it till one day I, just don't get my period and I go to my OBGYN and my hormones are just out of control. So just not waiting till that point and just learning to acknowledge what's triggering it, whether it's small or big.
So how do people work with you directly?
So there's a couple of things. So I have an office in Santa Monica where I work with clients one-on-one, but I also have a pretty big international audience. And I have a course that I offer online, which is a 8-week course. And they can go to my website. It's omwithatwist.com. And there's all the information out there. And just for this month of June, I'm offering a 25% discount. And there's a code for that, and it's Work with Uma.
Nice.
So,
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Uma. We appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land.